Hello guys, welcome back to Reddit Unfiltered. So today's story is one of those family dramas that start with a simple conversation but end with a marriage hanging by a thread. As always, grab your coffee, sit back and let me know your opinion after the story. I never imagined that two people I love the most would eventually force me to choose between them. I am 33-year-old, happily married for 4 years. My wife Emily is kind, funny and incredibly caring. My younger sister Sarah has always been independent. We grew up protecting each other after losing our dad at a young age. 4 years they got along well enough. Not best friend but polite. That changed after Sarah became pregnant. She was dating a man named Jack. When she found out she was expecting, Jack immediately proposed. He genuinely wanted to build a family together. But Sarah surprised everyone. She said no. Not because Jack was abusive, not because she was irresponsible. She simply admitted they were not compatible long term. She believed forcing a marriage for a baby's sake would eventually hurt everyone, especially their son. A few months after the birth, they separated peacefully. Today, 5 years later, they share custody equally. Jack is a fantastic father. Sarah has a stable career. Their son is healthy, happy, and loved by both parents. Honestly, it works, and at least it worked for everyone except my wife. Emily never understood Sarah's decision. Every family gathering eventually turned into the same awkward conversation. So, have you thought about giving Jack another chance? You know, children deserve married parents. People judge more than you think. At first, Sarah laughed it off. Then she started changing the subject. Eventually, she asked me privately, "Can you please tell your wife to stop bringing this up every single time we meet?" I agreed. I talked to Emily. She apologized for about 2 weeks. Then everything started again. She insisted she was not trying to insult Sarah. I just want what's best for their son. I believe her intention was good, but intention does not matter much when someone has already asked you to stop. Months passed. Every visit became more uncomfortable than the last. I could tell Sarah was slowly losing patience. Still, I convinced myself it was not serious enough to become a real problem. I could not have been more wrong. Last Saturday, Sarah came over to our house. She had our nephew with her because they were shopping nearby. Everything felt completely normal. We ordered pizza, watched cartoon with my nephew, talked about work. Then Sarah casually mentioned, "I can't believe Ethan starts kindergarten next month." For the next few minutes, she happily explained how nervous she was, buying school supplies, meeting teachers, preparing him for his first day. It was completely harmless conversation. Then Emily smiled, the kind of smile now I now realize usually meant terrible. She said, taking a sip of her coffee, "It still is not too late." Sarah looked confused. "Too late for what?" Emily smiled. "You and Jake would still get married at the courthouse." The room immediately became quiet. Sarah smiled. "Emily, we have talked about this." "I know," Emily replied. "But people judge single mothers. Kids notice these things too." Sarah took a slow breath. "I really don't want to discuss this again." That should have been the end of it. Instead, Emily leaned forward. "I am just saying that children deserve stability." Sarah's smiles disappeared. "My son already has stability." Emily shook her head. "Having two parents living separately is not the same thing." I felt the tension building. I opened my mouth to change the subject, but before it could, Emily said something that completely changed the atmosphere. "I am honestly surprised you are still comfortable introducing Jack as your baby's father instead of your husband." Sarah stared at her for several seconds. No one spoke. I remember thinking, please don't say anything. Please just let it go. But then Sarah quietly placed her coffee mug on the table, looking directly at Emily, and finally spoke. Sarah slowly stood up. She looked directly at Emily, but her voice remained calm. "You know what? I have stayed quiet for years because you are my brother's wife. Every single time we meet, you somehow find a way to criticize my life." Emily crossed my arms. "I am not criticizing you. I am telling you the truth." Sarah laughed. "No, you are judging me." Emily rolled her eyes. "If someone has a child outside of marriage, people are obviously going to have opinions." Sarah nodded slowly. "And that's exactly why I don't enjoy coming here anymore." Emily was not finished. "I just don't understand why you are so stubborn. Jack wanted to marry you. Most women would have been grateful. Sarah's expression completely changed. You don't know anything about my relationship. I know enough. No, you don't. Sarah took a deep breath before continuing. We argued constantly. We wanted completely different futures. We were not happy together. Staying together would have made our son miserable. Emily immediately interrupted. That's just an excuse. Sarah stared at her. I'm sorry. Emily insisted children need married parents. That's how I was raised. Sarah shook her head. My son need parents who respect each other, and that's exactly what he was. Emily leaned forward, but he will always have to explain why his parents are never get married. The room felt silent. I could actually hear the kitchen clock ticking. Sarah looked at me for a second, almost if she expected me to say something. I did not. Did not. I froze. Then Sarah looked back at Emily. You know what's funny? What? The only person obsessed with my life is you. And Emily scoffed. I am trying to help. No, Sarah replied. You are trying to make yourself feel superior. Emily slammed her coffee mug onto the table. I don't think I am superior. Sarah smiled bitterly. Really? Emily stayed quiet. Sarah continued. You have spent years acting like my son is somehow broken because I did not marry his father. Emily opened her mouth before she could speak. Sarah finally exploded. You should spend less time worrying about my family and more time worrying about yourself. Emily frowned. What does that mean? Sarah looked her up and down. It means maybe focus on your own health before criticizing my life. Emily's face immediately changed. You know exactly what I am talking about. The room suddenly felt smaller. I knew where this was wrong. I should have stopped it. I did not. Sarah continued, you have spent years picking apart every decision I have made. So today, here is my advice. If you are going to judge me every single time I walk into this house, maybe worry about losing a few pounds before telling me how to raise my child. Emily looked like she had been slapped. Sarah was not done. You think a wedding ring made someone respectable? She shook her head. A ring does not hide cruelty, and it definitely does not make someone kind. Emily's eyes instantly filled with tears. For the first time during the entire argument, she had nothing to say. Sarah grabbed her purse, walked forward the front door, stopped, then looked at me. I kept hoping just once my own brother would tell her enough is enough. I could not even look her in the eyes. She nodded sadly. I guess that answers my question. Then she walked out, the front door closed, and suddenly the entire house was silent. Emily collapsed onto the couch and started crying, crying, the kind that comes from being deeply hurt. I sat there completely frozen. I knew Sarah had crossed a line, but I also knew Emily had pushed her there. Still, I have not defended anymore, and somehow that made everything even worse. The second the front door closed, neither of us spoke. Emily sat on the couch with tears streaming down her face. She wiped them with the sleeves of her sweater, but more kept coming. Finally, she looked at me, so her voice cracked. Were you ever going to say anything? I did not know how to answer. She interrupted me. No, don't give me an excuse. She stood up and stared directly into my eyes. Your sister humiliated me in my own house, and you just sat there. I rubbed the back of my neck. I did not know what to do. Emily laughed. It was not a happy laugh. It was the kind of laugh people make when they are completely disappointed. You did not know what to do. That's your answer? I looked down. I thought both of you were wrong. She stared at me. What? I think you should not have kept bringing up Sarah's relationship. Emily's expression hardened, but I continued. Sarah also crossed the line by making those comments about your weight. Emily folded her arms. So instead of defending your wife, you decided to defend no one? I stayed silent. She shook her head. You know what hurts the most? It was not what Sarah said. It was watching my own husband sit there while someone insulted me. Those words hit harder than anything else. That night, Emily slept in the guest room. The next morning, she rarely spoke to me before leaving for work. A few hours later, my phone buzzed. It was Sarah. The message was short. I am sorry for what I said about Emily's appearance. I should not have gone that far, but I am done being judged every time I see her. Please don't ask me to apologize unless she apologizes for years of disrespect first. I stayed at the screen for several minutes, then another message arrived. This was from my mom. Apparently, Sarah had already told the family what happened within an hour. Everyone had an opinion. My mom said Emily had been provoking Sarah for years, and that it was only a matter of time before she snapped. My aunt said Sarah had every right to defend herself, but bringing up someone's appearance was cruel. My cousin thought I was the biggest problem. He texted me, "You were not expected to solve the argument, but you were expected to protect your marriage." So now I am asking you, what are your opinion? Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Reddit Unfiltered, and turn out notifications so you never miss a new upload. Now I want to hear your opinion. What do you think was most at fault? The wife, the sister, and the husband who stayed silent? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next story. Bye bye. Tata.